Yo, what is up, guys? Here again with another video. Who would have thought? We're trying to keep it up here. I think this one's probably gonna come out a little late, but it's okay. You know, I got work stuff going on. Been busy on other aspects of my life, but we are here trying to get something in. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, actually, is actually just like go over the list with you guys, like over DB, and then maybe even like go over like changes or build the deck, reflect on it, play with it, but record it so you guys can like see and like, you know, go through the process with me. So yeah, we'll just like, this is the list I ran for this past locals. So yeah, I mean, it's funny how like this list was actually more inconsistent than that 44 card version I played, when that version had like 29 engine, and this one, you know, I got it down to like, this is 14, right? So what, I guess we can start with I guess a deck profile. So, you know, we have 3 Prince, big shock, 2 Shrine. Yeah, 2 Shrine was great. Didn't feel like I needed it any more than, I think 2 is a pretty good number for Shrine and Pure. I've been wanting to push 2 Shrines for a while, and yeah, I liked it. Not sure about the DeepSea King variant. I haven't really played with that in a while. But I'd probably, if I went back to DeepSea King, I would initially test with 2 Shrine as well. 3 Dragoons, obviously, 3 Sidras. I think when it comes to Sidra, I've just admitted the fact that I just think Sidra is such a crazy card. I think it's good enough going first, and it's just so broken going second that you really just want to try and open this card. As well as like playing 3, I feel like really comes up like in the grind game. Like, you know, this deck can, if you build it properly, I think the deck can go to like turn 5. And I think triple Sidra adds to that, like turn 5ness. Like, you know, like if you're a turn player, you start the game, you know, so you have like turn 1, then you have turn 3, then you have turn 5. I think you have enough gas for like 3 turns of pushes. And yeah, so I like Sidra. And then we have 3 Teus. Teus will be a card I'll be revisiting. I'm honestly, just the one hand where I did open Teus infantry and was like, I don't know what to do with this card, left me to think either Teus needs to be replaced, or it needs an additional extender like Mermail Oshia, where let's see, so like this card. So like maybe I need to play a target like this, so that way I can actually get combo off of my Teus. You can go like Teus Pitch of Water. You can add Oshia. Oshia can then normal summon. You summon the Teus and you summon a squad and a pike from your deck. And then there is a rank 3 you can make. I know it's a water and I know it's an XYZ. This guy. So I believe, yeah. You can detach 2 materials from this card, draw 1 card. So it's not the worst card in the world. You detach squad off of it, you draw a card, and you summon Prince from deck. It gets you to basically, you know, not like an ideal full combo, but it gets you there, and 2500 attacks. Like, you know, nothing bad about that. So yeah, that's another option. Moving on, we got 3 squad, obviously, and then the 1 pike, 1 minstrel, and 1 diva. I've been liking the diva as like, it's just an additional 1 card starter. It adds to our normal summon count, as well as like is a solid like extender later game. I would also be interested in playing with multiple minstrels, and maybe as I look at cutting down on the count of Teuses, maybe the minstrel count actually goes back up. I do have 2 minstrels in the side, but I don't know. The minstrel thing I go either way on. You know, it's like what theory do you want to base your deck building on? But yeah, if you want to play more engine and less non-engine, I think Minstrel is definitely a card we can bring up. And then I played 2 infantry. I've been playing 2 infantry for a little while now. Been testing it on DB as well as played it at locals. And yeah, you know, the double infantry is pretty cool actually. I definitely like it. I think it adds a lot to our pushes, as well as being able to use an infantry in your first turn to pop a card, and then being able to still have another infantry in your deck to be able to like Sidra send if you don't break the board, or if you break the board but then build your own half board and then they try to come back to you, you still have a second infantry in your deck to be able to send. I find that kind of nice. As well as I also like being able to open infantry. So when I open infantry and we have to play around Droll, or play around, you know, getting hand trapped multiple times, the fact that you can just it's whether you're opening like 2 infantry, I mean 1 of your infantries in your hand, or you're opening like maybe like 2 princes. If you can like keep one of these like kind of cards in your hand, these ammunition cards, then you'll be able to trigger, you know, your Sidras and your infantry pops on your opponent's turn, and it just makes for, you know, nice combos. But yeah, so it just adds, it's like, and more pieces that you need to search, and by playing multiple copies, you know, it makes it a little more consistent to where you open it, and you don't really hate opening it because it's just a water at the end of the day, and it's not like we're cutting down on all of our better waters. So, and this is only in addition to, that's not a problem, but it would be a problem if you said like, oh, I'm gonna play more infantry, so I'm gonna cut a squad. Like that doesn't really work, because the infantry and what squad do are not anywhere near the same. And now, like, yeah, squad's a broken card, and that's a silly card to use as an example, but it'd also be similar to saying like, I'm gonna play more infantry, so I'm going to cut down on my Teuses. Like, that does not equate, because Teus is a pseudo starter slash really just a superior extender, where infantry is more like, you know, it's a spot removal, it's like engine requirement, board breaker. Yeah, they do not fill the same role, so like, you just need to be careful on what cards you're cutting to add, you know, to play additional other cards. But yeah, next we have we'll go ahead, you know, Mulan. Gonna play it till it gets banned. I have Ran and I have General here. So these two cards were actually talents originally, but I cut them because I was going to locals, and I was originally gonna go to a case tournament. I was gonna play this list, but two talents, and then obviously, like, you know, these cards all replaced in the extra deck. But yeah, so I did put these back. I did put these in because I wanted to test them out. I'm kind of curious in the barrier, you know, engine. What I do like about Ran is I do like that Ran doesn't require you to open one of your starters to be able to play the game. So, you know, when it comes to this list, if you're not opening one of your 3 princes, 3 dragoons, or 3 squad, then you're, or 1 for 1, I guess, you're really just not playing the game. So what is that? That's, I guess you also have Diva as well, but that's like, so if we look at Prince and 1 for 1 as Diva is like basically 5 1-card now we have, you know, 6 additional starters that do require a discard. And to get the optimal amount, to get the optimal like ratios of like ammunition cards to like trigger cards, those are just the names I give them. I call like dragoons and squad ammunition cards, and then like Teus, Pike, and Sidras and Ran, these are all trigger cards. You know, and that's just how my brain goes through it when I'm you know, deck building and looking for ratios. But yeah, you basically want, like, according to ChatGPT, in a 40 card deck, you want 12 trigger cards if you have 6 ammunition cards. At the most you can have is 6 ammunition cards. So there's multiple ways to go about it. Up in the starter count here, you know, we can look at adding like small worlds. We can look at adding prosperity back in the deck. We can up our trigger cards. Like, so currently I have, you could definitely count Shrine as a trigger card. So like we have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11, yeah. So I'm down 1 trigger card from being optimal. So we'll want to address that potentially. But yeah. So and then but yeah. So I played with these cards. My issue with them honestly was I think just throwing them in here last second wasn't correct. I think I should have built my deck a little bit better around these cards. I think Ran probably should be a 3 of. It's like if I want to make Lancia and I want to get to Ran, I should just play 3 Ran, because Shrine should always be summoning the Sidra, not the Ice Jade. Like the times where this would come up, I get my Ran. I have an opportunity to where I've already like gone through Sidras. Don't really need Teuses. Don't really need Teus a lot, honestly. And then I get to a point where, like, all right, I'm gonna Shrine and grab my Ran. But that's just so neg, because by Shrine grabbing your Shrining for Ran, if you want to get the proper, you know, summon, which is like summoning this from your hand so you get the token, then you have to add to your hand and then discard another card. And that card economy just never seemed to work out one time, and any moment where Ran became a thought during my games. So I want to address that. And yeah, so in general, I don't think it ever got summoned. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that variance was not on my side that day, as well as, you know, I also was not playing great. So I still want to give it one more chance before I just completely give up on it. I still think it's pretty cool. I do, because I really did miss having Statue in the deck, and so even like this might become Statue again. Although I like Statue more in DeepSea King, DeepSea King Turbo. And then yeah, I just have 1 for 1 as like the last like starter here. Well, I like 1 for 1 a lot. I think 1 for 1 is my favorite compared to like Prosperity, Small Roll, all those cards. And I do think you need to play a couple of those, because I don't think my starter count was quite high enough here. Yeah, I think being 10 starters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 starters. Yeah, so probably should aim for like 13, honestly. I'll try to adjust that as well. And so the main part where I want to play with is, so my non-engine, man. I wanna lower the non-engine to 12. That's another goal of mine. I have 2 Fluoros. I wish I had 3. This looks so toxic to me. I hate seeing this count right here at this 5. I at least wish it was. I wish it could be 3 Fluoros, 2 Prulia, but you know, we'll get there. And then yeah, 3 Astri, Droplet, 3 Imperm. I mean, this is just like standard. Like I'm just like really, the non-engine we're maining in our deck. So if we're not playing like a Snake Eyes format, and this is something that I still have to wrap my head around too. If we're not playing like a Snake Eyes format, and you're confident with, like, if you know how to play through a board, if you know how to beat a deck, and you know that, like, okay, so let's say Ryzeal's our toughest matchup, sure, then we know that if we open one of these 12 cards, that we should be able to minimize their board pretty substantially, you know, by Ash and Imperm stopping the duo drive, Perulia just ending their turn, Fluoros, you know, also kind of ending their turn, and then Droplet just deals with the problem outright. You know, these are the not engine cards we need, and you don't need to be playing. You probably don't need to be playing more than this. Now, it is helpful against other decks. You know, I think even like Fiendsmith Ryzeal, you know, probably is a little bit more difficult to play through, just because they have a lot more cards. You can they have a lot more engine, they have a lot more pushing you can do. But then that's like where your side deck comes in, and that's maybe where you side for, you know, like, 'cause you want to have your main deck non-engine, yeah, to cover like the bases. And so maybe like Droplet even goes to the side deck. But then you think of it like, well, if I ever play against Ryzeal, which is the most popular deck in the game right now, I'm gonna want those Droplets in the main deck because they're just making Dweller blind. So yeah, I think I want to adjust the non-engine. I think I want to try and lower it and try and play around just opening one non-engine at a time and see how that goes. And yeah, and so now for side deck, we'll just run through this. You know, 3 Lancia, 1 Meows. I couldn't fit the third. 2 Nib, 2 Minstrel, 1 Callby. This is because you want to have a planned siding pattern. So, you know, like going first, I have 5 Charmies. Well, I have 5 Sidens. I like Nib a lot more, honestly, going first than I do going second, just because this is like a backup plan. And a lot of the times we're ending on a half board, and that Nib adds like a huge bomb interruption and allows us to start playing the game like you know, from a fresh start. Then 3 Encore for the Dweller, and then 3 Impulse for Malice, and you know, all those rogue decks that just lose to a single Impulse. Next, I have King, Lacia, Coral for the Lynx, standard. I was playing 2 Sidra. I had to cut it for the Lancia package, and then 1 Gaios, 1 Trite, and, you know, double Bahamut. This is all standard. Levy's really good too. I can't cut the Levy, and then yeah, just the 3 Synchros. Now, I will say one thing I did realize that made me more interested in the Lizard Link. Is the thought of where you can actually link this off in like a token, sure, or just like if you get hand trapped too hard, you can just link these 2 off, or link the 2 monsters off, make Lizard, banish, draw a card, and then have like your Charmies live. I did actually like that idea, and that makes me want to play this card a little bit more, although this extra deck probably just can't change if I want to continue to play Lancia. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think all these cards are mandatory, and then I'm choosing to play this engine. And if anything, I actually want to fit Trish's 0, because the Trishula 0 came in, did come up once or twice. This card right here, I would like to play this. And so looking at what I would want to cut for it, you know, I basically either have to give up the Gamir, which I don't love because I'm going to be going the Rans 3. I could get rid of Levy, but I just think Levy is too necessary. It definitely would have come up a few times. Yeah, no, Levy's too important. And then no, nothing can go here. I think the extra deck is stuck. So we're gonna play with this a little bit. So this is actually what I do every single time I rebuild a deck, or I want to make changes. I just have to scrap the whole thing, because I can't play with it when it's already built. I just have to restart from the get-go. So what we're gonna do is, so the way I typically build my decks are, you know, there's multiple ways on like how I'll start building it. But what I've been liking lately is like just basically putting the first cards that go into the deck list are the cards that I'm actually like basing the deck around. Like, what do I want to test today? What do I want to work on? So like when I built the kaiju variant, the first cards I put in my deck were the kaijus. And like, it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't do anything. You know, I'm gonna end up, this list is gonna end up being standard, you know, with a couple changes, but it just kind of helps me mentally grasp like what I'm aiming for. And I don't know, I find it to be euphoric building my decks this way. But yeah, then we'll look at putting in our starters for the deck. So that's gonna be 3 Prince. It's going to be 3 Dragoons, which I do consider a starter. It's not a great starter, but it's a starter nonetheless. In its own way, it should be a starter because we're going to be aiming to play 12 trigger cards for it. And yes, squad also does count as a trigger card, but the ratios get a little bit different because now you have 5 ammunition cards, and then this becomes a trigger because, you know, if you count one of these as a trigger card, then it's no longer counted as an ammunition card because you can't have one squad to do both effects in one turn. You know what I mean. But yeah, so continuing here, we need a couple more starters. So what I would be probably looking at is, now I'm interested in Diva a little bit. I do like Diva, just the fact that it's a water, and so another thing I want to point out here that we are playing around is the Ran acts as a pseudo full combo. And what that means is that, you know, it's more okay if like these kind of cards get negated, because we should most of the time be opening one of our Rans in hand, and with us opening Ran, we should be able to fall back on the Lancia every time we get hand trapped in the ground. Now, maybe Diva isn't it. Maybe I'll revisit it, but right now I'm looking at the fact that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 starters right now. So then we throw in the 1-for-1, and then we want to throw in one more. I do not love Prosperity in this list because I think adding the Synchros makes it really hard to clear out that extra deck. I think this deck wants to grind a little bit, and so I don't think I want to play with those. So yeah, I think we're going to be looking at, I think this is going to be our starting lineup here. Maybe might get played with a little bit. But what this accomplishes is that we'll have 13, right? 6, 12. Yeah, this will give us 13, you know, one-card starters. You know, pseudo starters with Dragoons and squad. But then also we have 3 of our starter cards here, the Diva 1-for-1 and Small World, that we can side out every single time going second. So we can reduce our starter count to 10, which is still a really solid number going second. But then, yeah, you know, it's like this will be a perfect siding pattern, keeping one of the Divas in the deck. So this might get played with, but it's just, you know, my initial thought of what I'm like looking at. And now we want to look at, you know, our trigger cards. We want to get to 12 here, and currently we have, you know, like 6, 5-ish, you know, between these guys. Now, when looking at the triggers, I would say I want to start with 3 Sidras. I think I want to see 3 Sidras in the deck. And I think I'm also curious in, we also have Shrine. Oh, wrong. I know her name is Ryan. I've completely committed myself just to calling her Shrine. But yeah, I want to play with 2 still. I don't think you need 3. I also don't care about non-engine yet. I mean, we have to get like, we have enough room, I think, to get those 12 triggers. Maybe the Poseidon goes down to 2. But other cards I'm looking at here are, so we know we have Minstrel in the deck as well. So this actually gets us basically 12. And that's not bad. This is a pretty good set, but we do want to at least add 1 Teus to the deck. You need at least 1 Teus. I'm not loving this card right now, and I think I don't think we need to focus on it as hard. I think if Rand does her job well, then this card becomes a lot less important. And so this gets us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 triggers here. So that's pretty good. Now we want to kind of fill in some of the, you know, the empty slots of the deck. We need Mulan. Pike also acts as a trigger card. It's like the worst one, and maybe we even replace the Diva with the Pike, just because now I have 6 normal summons. I don't love 6 normal summons, so maybe we revisit the Diva. But then I have to decide what I'm siding out going second when I'm siding out 3. Maybe these cards don't get sided out, or maybe I only need 2 cards sided out. So we'll revisit that. But let's see. We're looking at. Yeah, I mean that is a lot. This is a lot of triggers actually. So we could potentially play with this a little bit, but we'll continue on. Mulan and then Infantry. I think these are the last 2 cards I want to play. Yeah, so this is pretty set. Now another card I am interested in still, for sure, is I do like Triana. And I would like to be able to play it, but currently I'm looking at 12 non-engine spaces. I don't know if the Triana makes it, and yeah, not playing Triana is tough. But I think one nice thing is that Levy does help with the lack of Triana. I think double Infantry helps with the lack of Triana. I think triple Sidra helps with the lack of Triana. I think you could also cut one of the Divas and play Triana. But we'll start with this. I think this is the way I want to start with. And now we'll look at our non-engines. So the non-engine is probably the most boring part, just because it currently kind of builds itself. You know, like we know, like this is like the easy part. Is like we're basically playing these nine non-engine cards because you need to. And then if I have to main deck one, I almost just want to main deck Perulias over main decking something else. So like something like this. Oh, my Mulan's gone. So this is maybe where I'm currently interested in trying, and this is gonna get played with. You know, this is with 0 test hands. This is strictly like theory alone. I'm not even sure how I feel about this yet. I haven't even. But this is a concept, and this is a way that you can maybe go about building a deck, kind of like looking for optimal ratios you want to hit. And so we can definitely see that we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although I don't like to count this card as a trigger, so if we don't have to count this card as a trigger, that's really nice. The reason we would count this card as a trigger card and a ammunition card is because if you open double squad, you can almost squad and then discard 1 from your hand to make the other one level 7, and then you combo from there. And so that is cool. It is cool, but I think it's just it's variance, and it's possible, but you don't want to aim for that, I guess. But it's definitely possible. So not counting squad, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so we have 11, and then if you count this, it's like we have up to 15 trigger cards. So that's really solid. That's a good number to aim for. And then yeah, we have a good amount of starters here. As we counted 13 starters. Our deck is pretty well built engine-wise to go second with the 3 Sidras, 2 infantry. Our deck should be built pretty well going first with the 3 shrines, as well as the amount of starters we have here. And now, and then you can kind of play with the side deck later. The side deck also kind of builds itself. Like I know that I have 2 copies of Fluoros, as much as I wouldn't have. I mean, if I did, I put in 3. If I had 3, and then we have 3 Charmies in the main deck. So we do want to look at possible cards that might, amplify that. And I think initially I look at talents, call by maybe. You could also look at Minstrel. I don't know if I want Minstrel. I think talents is a little bit more flexibility, but this is just I would play with this side deck. Maybe I would test something very different. Test some new stuff, maybe like Tronus or whatever. And I also don't see Nibiru's in this list. I probably want to fit Nibiru's. Even Drolls as well. Drolls haven't made this list, but this is just a concept of based on where my mindset is and what I want to play currently. And so at this point I would literally just go into solo, and I would just start running test hands and looking for playable, non-playable. So I see very playable, I see Droplet in my hand, and so yeah, I see okay, we can play the game. That's my first goal is can we play the game? And maybe the engine's too hot, and so this is kind of crazy variance, but this is still starter going first, and this is really all you need. And like that's actually fine. And then you know, going second, I mean, you could pair that with the small world, get something better. You also still have you know, droplets that can send the other 2 droplets or gem roll to negate, and you really just play off the prince anyways. So you know, that's still like somewhat successful hand. Again, we're looking at a successful hand. I'd probably go Ran, discard Dragoons. If Dragoons get stops, I have Diva for follow-up. If it still gets stops, I have Lancia. And then and I also have Perulia, so you know, against Ryziel, this is a great hand. Imperm Perulia. Imperm's my first draw. Check a couple draws later. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty solid. And then yeah, so you know, I'll just run through these. So this is a little engine heavy, and I am noticing that all these hands are a little engine heavy outside of like the triple droplet. So you know, maybe we consider that going back. But then here, you know, three non-engine, great hand though, so we still have Prince Extender, and Perulia being a water could be relevant. And then yeah, so and that's a really solid hand. So you know, we just kind of play with these hands, keep running it through. Another engine heavy hand, something to consider. But we do have Dragoons here and Teus, so this is like really good going first. Going second, depending on the deck, the Ash as a top deck could be okay. And double infantry, depending on how like these cards get resolved. If either of these resolve going second, then you have a pretty good chance of playing still, because Teus can get you Shrine, Dragoons can get you Sidra, and either of those cards can trigger the infantries, and you can start playing from there. Yeah, so I would just do test hands. I'll just play with it, just make sure it looks nice. Initially, I am still thinking that maybe I want to up the non-engine just a tad by maybe a card or 2. But yeah, this is you know, this is just a little something I want to try out. I mean, you guys let me know how you felt about this, and I'm interested in doing this with another deck, if you guys would be curious to know. But yeah, this is a cool little video idea. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. Please give me some, you know, advice, comment, feedback. Love to hear it. Join the Discord. I got the link at the end of the video, every video. And yeah, we'll see locals. And I don't know if I'm gonna play this. Maybe might play something else. Might make some changes. We'll see. So thank you guys for watching, and peace.